I am concerned about the number of important properties which govern us, some of which are official governance properties like the executive branch and the Congress, um, but others unofficially govern us, Silicon Valley, for example. Um, I'm concerned about the degree to which runaway left-wing thought owns these important structures, and that it is the failure of anything to credibly oppose these wrong beliefs that is putting us in such danger. So whereas I would not, under ordinary circumstances, prefer a conservative court, I think I would not prefer a conservative court, although there's an argument that even if you're a radical like me, that you want a restraining force, and it might be that the court is the place for conservatism. But at the moment, with this runaway, uninvestigated, team blue, left-leaning stuff, you need some force that can say no, and really the only one left is the Supreme Court. So at this point, there's nothing wrong with talking to a conservative. Robbie George is a great guy, and he has a very deep understanding of the issues in play. And he differs with us somewhat on values, but it's not like I, don't respect his perspective or feel any shame at all in talking to him. He's the person I would go to first to understand anything in this realm. But it is also the case that the court packing proposal is dangerous. The idea that it is a remedy is preposterous, right? It is nakedly political. And at this moment, if we have, if there was ever an argument for a conservative court, this is the moment that we need such a thing. And, I say that with full understanding that there are certain questions that the court may rule on in which, we might get decisions that are very troubling to
those of us
on the left. But nonetheless, that may be the price we have to pay to have any branch of government that is capable of restraining the out of control forces that have taken control of all things governance.
Yeah, we have lost in too many places a loyal opposition, right? And this harkens back also to what I was invoking about what's happened in Portland, that in the last election, which was also a mayoral election here in Portland, we actually had to vote for the guy who helped facilitate at that point, what would it have been, 5 months of protests that reliably became riots and made our beautiful downtown a disaster zone. We had to vote for him because the person running against him was farther to the left. Farther, and this isn't a left I recognize, farther to the anarchist.
Yeah.
Farther to the destroy everything, burn it all down, all cops are bastards. And, it's hard to imagine. It's impossible really to imagine a Republican candidate for mayor in Portland getting anywhere. But we need two sides to the degree that there are two legitimate sides. And of course there's, you can frame these sides across all sorts of axes. But we need, for any given set of issues, there to be a vibrant and lively set of people on the other side who are allowed to speak and who wield some power so that they can push back. And we don't have that in Portland. And we largely don't have that in the Democratic Party. And we don't have that among corporate CEOs largely. We don't have that in Silicon Valley. We don't have that in Hollywood. We don't have that in the media. We don't have that in academia. And so, and this is not the left that you and I grew up with. This is not a left that we stand by and are proud of. And so, it's therefore even more clear to us how much we need, opposing forces, whether or not you agree with those opposing forces, because their existence itself is what's necessary.
So I have a little rubric around this, which is...
Of course you do.
So there's a reason that I've shown on the podcast before my political compass test, which has me really far over to the left and really far over to the libertarian. So lower left hand,
anti-authoritarian and not right,
and very far left. There's a reason I land there, right? And it's because of values and beliefs that I actually do hold. But it does not mean that I think the left is correct and it would be better off if the right simply disappeared. I know this not to be the case, right? The point is you have a dynamic tension between the instinct towards progress to make things better, which, if left unopposed, always treads into territory where it creates unintended consequences and it does harm. And the impulse to preserve what functions, which, if unopposed, becomes stifling, right? Becomes stingy and stifling, and it doesn't accomplish lots of things that could be accomplished. So what you want is a force pushing in the direction of making things better, and a force holding its feet to the fire and making sure it doesn't propose dumb things that get out of control, right? It's the tension between those two things that makes the system work. And my sense is anybody on either side who thinks we'd be better off if the other side disappeared has already told us they don't understand anything about governance and they can be safely ignored. So
That's it right there. It's
yeah.
like that deserves to be shouted from the rooftops. Anyone on either side who thinks we'd be better off if the other side disappeared has told us already that they know nothing about how things work, and they
Right.
don't deserve to be listened to.